Hello, Luminary. Welcome back to a powerful episode where we're going to uncover all of our Scorpio energy in our business, where we're meant to bring out our intuitive trust and open honesty. Not give it to everybody now. That's the important part. And how we're going to be calling in all of that authentic, intuitive power with our upcoming new moon in Scorpio that happens on Thursday. If you're listening to this episode while it drops on Wednesday, that is tomorrow. So tune in. Welcome to the Savvy Luminary podcast, Astrology for Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Leslie Tagorda, creator of the Astrobrand Method, business astrologer, brand designer, author, and Aquarius boss woman. I help visionary spiritual entrepreneurs and impact makers like you illuminate and amplify your unique star powers so you can be the luminary you were born to be. Well, welcome back, Luminary. I have another information-packed episode for you, this time all about Scorpio energy. Okay, love it or hate it. Scorpio is that energy that you have. You have that energy in your chart, in your business that you need to uncover to reveal your authentic, intuitive trust and power. Now, oftentimes when we hear about Scorpio, we hear about secrecy and manipulation and sex and power and magic and, all of those kind of judgy things about Scorpio. But, I am here to reframe how we think about Scorpio and how we are really meant to use Scorpio energy in our businesses. I really do feel that we are in the precipice of an intuitive revolution, meaning we're really being able to tap into that authentic power. Over the last couple of episodes, I've been really talking about our intuition. And I'm sure you already know all of the mistakes and all of the heartbreaks and the headaches that you have created when you haven't listened to your intuition. So today I want to talk a little bit more about that Scorpio energy, how to find it in your unique natal chart, and how to bring it out in your business so that you can really be open and honest and go deep. When we talk about authenticity, my business astrologer, my astrology mentor, Milada Sachik, talks about authenticity as the idea of what's happening on the inside, what we're feeling, what we're doing, what we're thinking, all of that inner dialogue matches what we're doing on the outside. Now, you've met people who are not inauthentic, right? Where maybe they're trying to manipulate or pressure you into like high pressure sales tactics or putting all this like false urgency on things like that. So over all of that bull, okay? That is the wrong way to be using that power. That is when we know when things are not authentic. We can all smell that from from a mile away, from 2 miles away. What we're really trying to do when we're bringing out that true authenticity is first with Scorpio energy, we first need to trust ourselves. So in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing the Scorpio archetype. This is really kind of an extension of an episode that I did from last year. That's episode 39, how to use your powerful Scorpio energy in your business. If you want to hit pause and go back to episode 39, I'll be kind of continuing on that Scorpio energy about what is Scorpio energy, why it's so important in your business, what happens when you're not using your Scorpio energy, the ways to unlock your Scorpio energy and get over its wounds. And then, because we have our new moon in Scorpio at 12 degrees of Scorpio on Thursday, I'll be talking all about the new moon in Scorpio and how you can set a fresh intention to trust yourself, to trust your intuition, and to really call in those trustworthy, intimate partners in your business. And sorry to all of the luminaries who really enjoy the new moon ceremonies. I love them so much too. And I've not really been taking my own medicine, and I've been trying to use my Scorpio energy to eliminate all the things that are just not serving me. And so I decided to not hold a Scorpio new moon ceremony this month, but I'm still offering individual mini readings. So if you are interested in a Scorpio mini reading to see where your intuition wants to come through in your business so you can set a fresh, powerful intention, then head on over to thesavvyluminary.com/new moon. If you've been wanting to sample what it's like to have an astrogram reading from me, this is a perfect way to dip your toes into having that experience with me. All right, so head on over to thesavvyluminary.com/new moon and sign up for your Scorpio new moon reading. Okay, so before we get into the Scorpio new moon and all of the astrology and all of the house activations, I really wanted to talk more about the Scorpio energy and how it's really important in your business. Now, I already know that a lot of listeners out here in the luminaries, a lot of you luminaries are actually Scorpio risings. I don't know why I have so many Scorpio rising clients. Maybe it's because I am open and honest. Maybe it's because I'm Aquarius, and the Aquarius, that kind of fixed quadruplicity between Scorpio and Aquarius, whatever it is, I freaking love my Scorpio rising clients. So it's because of you, I really know this energy intimately well, and I can know how powerful it is. I know not only how powerful it is, but how sometimes it just feels a little bit, what is that? I don't want to say the word dangerous, but it's like you're handling this very potent potion that you definitely do not want to drop. Now, the Scorpio, I tell this to my clients all the time. To me, Scorpio is just like one of the most powerful zodiacs. It's not to say that there's any zodiac sign that's more powerful than not, but Scorpio just has this capacity to hold so much, to hold the truth, to be able to see between the lines, to read between the lines, to just be able to call bullshit when it is happening. And Scorpio's power is like that stinger. The scorpion can be like really nice and sweet. Well, maybe there's not a Scorpio that's really nice and sweet. Let's think about a little kitty cat. A little kitty cat can be really sweet, but you just touch it the wrong way and all of a sudden the claws come out, right? So for me personally, I have nothing in Scorpio. My sixth house cusp of health and wellness and routine and employees is where I have Scorpio. Scorpio rules my sixth house, but I have like 0 planets in Scorpio. But for whatever reason, I just love my Scorpio clients. I think I love my Scorpio clients so much because there's no fluff, there's no hiding, there's no pretense. You just like get what you get. And that I like that kind of honesty. And so for the rest of us that don't have Scorpio, we can still pull in all of that powerful, authentic energy, meaning again, reminding you that authenticity is matching what's happening on the inside with what's happening on the outside. Now, I'm sure you're already very familiar with all of the shadows of Scorpios, especially if you are a Scorpio hater, right? Like Scorpios can't be trusted. They manipulate. They're using their sex appeal to empower others. And for sure, when there's a young Scorpio child, a girl or a boy, they can learn to use they're learning to use their powers, not in terms of manipulation, but like really testing the boundaries to see how far they can get with things. So from the outside, it can seem like manipulation, but what they're really trying to do is they're testing out the waters. It's all an experiment. So if you are a parent to a lovely Scorpio child, listen to them, give them containers and tools to be able to express and feel out their deep emotions. Give them the boundaries by clearly stating no. Scorpios need no. So if you have a little child that has a lot of Scorpio energy, making sure that you're giving them a lot of boundaries that they clearly know when they have crossed the line. So let's dial it back a little bit. I know I just kind of like jumped into the deep end, but well, that's what Scorpio would do because Scorpio is a water sign. And so remember Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, the triplicity of the water element, where Cancer creates the safety for emotional security to happen. Scorpio then from that safe place dives in deep. And so Scorpio is that deep, deep water. So that's why I think that Scorpio is so powerful, is because it is the only sign that has the capacity to go that deep into places of emotions. That's why Scorpios are so equipped at doing research or psychoanalysis or shadow work and counseling, right? The Scorpio is that energy that we need to go really deep and to bring all of those places of hurt and distrust and trauma. Scorpio is that healing water energy that can just hold space for that. Of course, Cancer creates the space. Cancer, then Scorpio dives deep into the space, brings everything up to light, hopefully heals it, brings it to Pisces, and Pisces like, woohoo, let's create some dreams now. But Scorpio is, again, the water element, and then it is the fixed modality, like Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. The fixed modalities are the ones that love to problem solve. They love to go deep. They don't really like making change unless they are the initiators of change, unless they have the right facts to really create that change. And for Scorpio, facts look like honesty, look like truth. For Scorpio, truth and honesty, it's very black and white. There are no gray areas for Scorpio. In fact, I guess you could really say that for most of the fixed signs, Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio, there's no gray areas. It's just black and white. On the opposite end of Scorpio on the natal chart is Taurus, where Taurus is about having all of the resources, the physical resources that you need in terms of worthiness and money and just being able to survive at a physical level. Scorpio is that metaphysical, your emotions, your intuition. You could even say your magical, mysterious, mystical, psychic tools. And it's no wonder that Scorpio, also the ruler of the 8th house, if you think about Taurus is the money in your bank, then Scorpio is the money in our bank. Okay, of course, we know that the symbol of a Scorpio is the scorpion with its most powerful tail. You don't want to get stung by that. And we have two rulers, the traditional ruler, the fiery planet of Mars that likes to take action. And within Scorpio, it's kind of power and sex appeal. And then, of course, we have Pluto, the traditional dwarf planet ruler, Pluto, who is about death and transformation. And this sense of transformation coming from this distillation and purification process. One of the mantras for Scorpio is to be powerful. And in order for Scorpio to be powerful, it's to first recognize its power. That's the one thing that I'm working with my clients when they have Scorpio. One of the biggest things that I find most of my Scorpio clients, if they haven't been working through their own shadows, is to recognize their own power. I've seen just so many Scorpio clients that just have this depth of intuition, of sight, of knowingness that oftentimes they don't trust, whether they don't trust it because it wasn't safe to trust it, or their family or their tradition or their culture said that it was evil. With Scorpio, to really tap into their own power is to first trust themselves. That's so hard. That trust isn't something that you just like give out willy-nilly just to any old person. For Scorpio, that trust has to be earned. And so when we're thinking about earning your own trust, in terms of that Scorpio energy, if you have Scorpio energy by planet or by house, is to tap into where does your intuition come through? Where can you hear it the most? I think I remember I was telling you about that client that has Scorpio at her midheaven with her moon right on top of her midheaven. And she just had this tremendous psychic ability to see and to feel all of these things that she really bottled up and didn't allow herself to use. But when we started to really talk about that power and we started recognizing it, how she started to unleash that power, and she just really stepped into her own as a relationship coach. It's so beautiful to witness Scorpios recognizing their power. And how do we empower people that have that Scorpio energy so that we can build that trust in them, that we believe in their own powers instead of giving them mixed messages where, we're talking about intuition being dangerous and things. Now, Scorpio's intuitive powers do need a vessel. Remember, it's still water. So we still need containers. And the vessels and the boundaries for Scorpio is about purification, honesty, trust, and the ability to say no. In our body, I always love looking at kind of like health astrology because each of these zodiac signs rules a part of our body or a bodily function. And of course, Scorpio rules our sex organs, it rules our organs of elimination. And so that's why Scorpio is really related to kind of sex and all of these, like, that kind of power from power plays from sex. Scorpio isn't really necessarily interested in sex from this pleasure part. Scorpio likely has pleasure from sex, but Scorpio probably gets more pleasure from having the power that they can not power that they can harness. Let's not say power that they can control or manipulate others, because again, shadow side of Scorpio, but that power that they gain from being so attractive, from being so dynamic in that kind of sexual way. Now, going back to that elimination process, when we think about Pluto and that kind of transformation and that purification, of course, now Scorpio is about eliminating waste products from our body. And so when we think about this elimination process and we bring it into just kind of real world in our life and in our businesses, Scorpio is about saying no. Scorpio is about getting down to the purest, distilled basics and cutting out everything else, eliminating. And so, if you have Scorpio, if you have also Capricorn, because it's ruled by Saturn, you really benefit from saying no. And maybe if it's really hard for you to envision what you do want, just for Scorpio and Capricorn, envisioning what you don't want will get you closer to understanding what you do want. I know as soon as the sun went into Scorpio, my business has been going through like some major Scorpio things. And trust me, this is really hard for me because that I am a Aquarius sun with Jupiter conjunct my sun. I am a Sagittarius moon and I'm a Gemini rising. So I love all of the things. And I've run my business for a really long time and kind of at this point where I have to detox. There are just way too many things. Too many offerings, too many opt-ins, too many systems, too many all things. And so remember, I was mentioning at the very beginning of the episode, I said that I had Scorpio on my 6th house. And it's the end of the year. I have all of this pressure, internal pressure now, just from me, because I'm always wanting to create new things and look at the future. But I'm being forced to sit in the Scorpio movement and do a detox and really having a hard time letting go of things. So little steps steps. I actually I cleaned one drawer of my desk and got rid of a ton of papers. And yes, it felt good. Kind of similar to maybe like, TMI, but when you finally get to go to the bathroom after you've been constipated for a while, you're like, oh my gosh, do I feel so much better. So you can really think about Scorpio in your business, like, hey, where are you feeling a little bit constipated and what do you need to detox and let go of? So, why is Scorpio important in your business? I think you've gotten the gist. Scorpio is so important because it's about the intuition that you need, the intuition that you need to learn how to listen to, that need to learn how to trust, that you really need to help you strategize instead of always looking on the outside for your next steps or your next strategies or, looking to the next guru to tell you what to do. Heck no. You need Scorpio so that you can trust in your own intuition so that your authentic power can guide you. Your intuition, when you tap into it, will never, ever, ever lead you astray. I think I feel like I need to do like an entire episode about using your intuition and everybody sharing their stories about when they have listened to their intuition and when they haven't listened to their intuition. Let me just say, besides your education, your intuition is one of your most valuable assets in your business. And I know that most of us are not harnessing our intuition as much as we should. Now, of course, the next piece of Scorpio, why it's important in your business, is about trust and honesty, right? I am pretty much an open book. I pride myself in being really open and very trustworthy and just telling the people the truth. I've been very known to tell clients who've come to me for web design or for things like that, that I just didn't think that I was the right fit for them, that maybe they weren't ready for a big investment yet. And that takes a lot of, I wouldn't say guts to be able to say, but I guess that takes a lot of trust, a trust in your own self to know that you're going to have another client come your way. It takes trusting your own abilities. It takes trusting that other person. But when you're able to say no to a client from that place of honesty and truth, they then appreciate you so much more because they're like, wow, this person is really trustworthy. I hope that all of us here are building really trustworthy businesses and putting the trust first on ourselves and really only working with those that we trust. Now, with Scorpio, we have to be able to to discern who is not trustworthy. And sometimes especially if people have a lot of good Scorpio energy, they can be very secretive and hide those things. And so it's really up to you to sharpen your spidey powers to be able to trust yourself, trust your intuition, and trust the other person. It's really important to be able to trust your clients and work with people where that trust goes both ways, because that trust then builds intimacy. And from intimacy is where we can build powerful, powerful things. Again, intimacy is the result of relationships. It's the result of being honest. It's the result of putting all of your cards on the table with those who deserve it. Of course, Scorpio again is rooted in knowledge, in truth. And sometimes truth shows up from research. Like I've known lots of scientists who are amazing, who are Scorpios, who are amazing analysts and researchers because they're using data and they're using science, but they're also using their intuition to lead them to their next discoveries and theories. Scorpio makes great investigators because they're able to read between the lines and uncover secrecy. Of course, if we're thinking about just privacy, Oh my goodness. I'm not going to say which companies probably don't deserve our trust, but you already know. And you can see lots of the shadows of Scorpio in certain people's charts. So, how do you know if you have a strong Scorpio energy in your brand? So, of course, if you have one of your big three in Scorpio, you have your sun, moon, or rising in Scorpio, then you have to be leading and harnessing trust and intimacy and openness and honesty and investigation with your business. Now, if you also have Pluto in your close to your rising or your midheaven, I would consider you to have the deep transformative properties of Scorpio and sometimes Mars, because Mars co-rules Scorpio, but also Aries. And so on certain different factors, if you have Mars on your rising or your midheaven, depending on how that's being expressed, you might have that ability to harness intuitive action in your business. Now, of course, you have Scorpio somewhere in your chart by the house or the cusps. And wherever you have Scorpio ruling a house by being at the end of a cusp, this is the area of your business where you are meant to harness your intuitive powers, your trust powers, your authentic powers, and intuition in your business. Of course, if you're a Scorpio rising, then you are here to lead and guide with your authentic power and intuition. You are meant to really use kind of your magnetism and your sex appeal and your truth bombs and your absolutes black and whites to lead. And that's what people really admire you. If you have Scorpio on the second house, you might be a Libra rising. And if you are this person, you build value using your authenticity and your intimacy. If you have Scorpio on your third house cusp, you might be a Virgo rising. And if this is you, you promote and communicate and perceive with your authentic power and intuition. If you have Scorpio in the fourth house, you might be a Leo rising. And here you root and belong using your authentic power and intuition. You have to find that sense of rootedness in yourself before you can really shine bright as that Leo rising. If you have Scorpio on the fifth house cusp, you might be a Cancer rising. And here you celebrate and create with your intimacy in your authentic truth and power. If you have Scorpio on the sixth house, you may be a Gemini rising, just like me. And here you need to serve and create daily routines using your intuition. Besides in business, for me, how this is working out is that I'm really learning how to intuitively eat instead of just eating and eating and eating. That's a theme for me. If you have Scorpio on your seventh house descendant, you might be a Taurus rising. And here, this is your ideal customers and your soul collaborators, where you are connecting and relating with other authentic, powerful, and intuitive customers. If you have Scorpio on your eighth house cusp, you might be an Aries rising. And here you have to learn to trust and heal your own authentic power and intuition. If you have Scorpio in the ninth house cusp, you might be a visionary Pisces rising. And here you need to believe in and see your own authentic power and intuition. You need to be able to believe in your own trustworthiness. If you have a Scorpio on the 10th house at that midheaven, you might be an Aquarius rising. And here you are meant to have your ultimate mission and your promise be part of your authentic power, your intuition, and your trustworthiness. That Scorpio in the midheaven, just like my client, that was like so supremely psychic, just bringing it out into the world and delivering on her mission to trust in her own powers and use them in her business. If you have Scorpio on the 11th house, you might be a Capricorn rising. And here you're meant to create impact in society with your authentic power and intuition. And lastly, if you have Scorpio on your 12th house, you might be a Sagittarius rising. And here you're supposed to trust yourself too and your intuition. So you stop self sabotaging. And so you can start surrendering and working in flow with your authentic power and your intuition. So find out where you have Scorpio in your chart by house. So even if you don't have planets by Scorpio, you have it by house somewhere. Now, let's talk a little bit about Scorpio wounds. If you have any of your karmic planets like Moon or Saturn or Chiron or even your South Node, these are the planets and these energies in your chart that bring up your soul history, where you're meant to really learn to trust yourself and trust your others. Maybe it's not always been safe. So if you have your Moon in Scorpio, oh my goodness, let's just say that it is a very in tune, intuitive, and psychic moon, where you really need to learn how to trust into those intuitive and psychic and deep emotional abilities. You have to learn how to trust yourself and learn how to turn on and turn off that tap. You need to learn how to place your trust in others that have earned it. And you really need to learn about your own innate power. If you have Saturn in Scorpio, this is about turning your doubt into mastery, about learning to create boundaries in your responsibility. So, how do you put boundaries in your intuition? How do you prioritize your intuitive needs? And how do you learn to be honest with yourself so that you can stop doubting yourself and start trusting your intuition? Now, if you have Chiron in Scorpio, this is a deep one. I haven't really met too many people with Chiron in Scorpio. So if you have that, please let me know. I would love to talk to you and learn more about some of the wounds that may never heal, how it might not have been safe for you to use your intuition or your psychic abilities. But what have you learned to work around and adapt? Because those are your gifts. It's not me. It doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be an intuitive person and that you're not supposed to ever use your intuition, but how you've learned to accommodate your intuition and accommodate your trust and your honesty. That is what to me is really, really sacred. I would love to hear your story. And of course, if you have your South Node in Scorpio, that means you have your North Node in Taurus, and you're supposed to move into that direction about putting your physical needs and your monetary needs and your needs that create the stable physical environment for you and not get stuck in that place of just putting all of your spiritual needs first. Lastly, let's go through Scorpio by planet, because if you have a planet that is in Scorpio, consider it an intuitive, powerful gift that you need to use with responsibility. Of course, if you have your sun in Scorpio, your creative brilliance, that you are meant to create opportunities and radiate with your honest, authentic power and truth. We talked about that moon sign, and your moon sign in your business and your brand is about emotional security so that you decide what success and visibility mean to you. For you with your moon in Scorpio, success feels like you want to be seen and respected as an intuitive, as somebody that's trustworthy. If you're Scorpio as your rising sign, you are meant to lead others with honesty and respect. If you have your Mercury in Scorpio, one of those super intuitive psychic Mercuries, that perception of deep intuition and deep emotion, you express, comprehend, and perceive with your deep emotional wealth and intuition. If you have your Venus in Scorpio, you value and connect with other trustworthy spiritual people, powerful people too. If you have your Mars in Scorpio, Mars is at home in Scorpio, and you motivate and initiate with your inner captivating power. If you have Jupiter in Scorpio, you expand and teach with your intuitive trust. You create belief systems with your intuition. If you have Saturn in Scorpio, you build and structure your foundations of trust and intimacy, by creating strict boundaries. If you have Uranus in Scorpio, you are here to innovate and individuate healing and intimacy. Yes, I am talking to you, Gen Xers. If you have Neptune in Scorpio, you might be a boomer and you're here to dissolve deep secrets. If you have Pluto in Scorpio, I know there's a lot of us here, you are here to distill and transform the ways we use trust, intuition, and intimacy. I'm so here for that. If you have your North Node in Scorpio, you want to stretch and move into trusting your own intuitive capabilities. If you have your South Node, we already talked about that with that karmic energies. You're here to release and let go of controlling others. So you can see how we are at the precipice of an intuitive revolution, and we are here to empower our deep, authentic trust using Scorpio. So look to your chart, see where you have Scorpio by house or by planet, and how you are meant to harness your authentic power and intuition in your business. Wherever you have Scorpio, this is where in your life and business, you need to connect to your intuition and rethink how you make empowered decisions in your business. Remember that Scorpio is a true, powerful gift. And with this kind of gift comes a great responsibility to harness it respectfully, to appreciate it and share it. What will you do with your Scorpio energy? I know that was a lot. So let's talk about this Scorpio new moon, because this is your chance to call in all of your intuitive energies. Whether you have a practice of already tapping into your intuition and your authentic trust, or you're just learning how to tap into this and want to strengthen your ability to harness it in your business, this is your opportunity on Thursday during our new moon in Scorpio. So the new moon in Scorpio happens on Thursday, November 4th at 2:15 p.m. Pacific, 5:15 p.m. Eastern, and it happens at Scorpio of 12 degrees. Remember, if you want a mini reading and you've never had an astrobrand reading with me before, this would be a great way for you to dip your toes in and experience a mini reading. And for those of you who have already had new moon astrobrand readings with me, you know how powerful it is to tap into understanding what is being activated in your chart that needs a fresh intention to use with intuition. A couple of things about the new moon. Remember, I have my book, New Moon Rituals for Entrepreneurs, the 2021 version. I was on the fence about creating a 2022 version, but when I was talking with my copy editor and really feeling sad about not putting together a new moon book, she convinced me that I need to put together a new moon book for 2022. So it's still a debate whether I'm going to be having a print version or just the online version, but do know that it is coming, and it will have a few more tips on how to really personalize your new moon so that you can really build the business and the life of your dreams. I have to give credit to my ability to manifest to these new moon ceremonies, because I have been a practicer of new moon ceremonies for, over 6 years. And I credit these monthly spaces and times that I create to get clear on exactly what I want and putting that out into the universe. I've accomplished so much in my life because of these new moons. And if there's one thing that you're going to do to move your business forward, it is creating a practice of monthly new moons to get really clear on what you want. Okay, so enough of that. Let's talk about this upcoming new moon on Thursday. Again, Scorpio 12 degrees. Look to your natal chart to find out where Scorpio 12 degrees exists in your chart. Find out what house it's in. Find out what planets are being activated. If you want a training on how to read your natal chart for business, this mini training has a special little module that shows you how to look for your lunar activations and to incorporate other planets and energies that might be calling in with that particular lunation. If you want to go into that, head on over to thesavvyluminary.com/written in the stars. Okay, so this new moon, Scorpio 12 degrees, you are planting the seeds to trust your intuition and develop your authentic power in your business. Do you use intuition in your business? Oh my gosh, I sure hope you do, because your intuition is your authentic power. And for so many of us, we are out of touch with our intuition because, it's not your fault. Honestly, it's been systemically disconnected from the way that we've been taught to run our business. Especially as women and as girls, we've been told to not trust our intuition, or that our intuition is dumb or crazy or irrational. Use your mind, use your logic. Oh my goodness. That is where when we're like really always just using our logic and our minds, we fall into that trap of overthinking. So how can we balance our irrationality or our intuition with our logic? We need both of them. Okay. Listening and hearing your intuition takes trust. So, on the day of the new moon in Scorpio, I invite you to ask yourself, how are you listening? How are you trusting? How are you making decisions with your intuition instead of fear? Okay, remember, listening and understanding and perceiving can happen in many different ways. If you have a fire moon, this could just be like just this sense of intuition. If you have a earth moon, you could feel things in your body. If you have a water moon, again, that sense of deep knowing. So many different ways to be able to appreciate your intuition. Now, when your intuition communicates, remember, it feels neutral. There isn't a negative or a positive emotional charge like fear being passed on. If you do feel fear, I invite you to dive deeper and to that place of stillness below that fear where things feel calm. That deep water, remember that deep water, it's so calm and so clear so that you can access what your intuition is really asking of you. This act of listening and trust and stillness is Scorpio. Sometimes it's thought of as a dark characteristic, but it's not, because it's powerful to face your shadow, to understand what your shadow wants you to know instead of just avoiding it, to trust in yourself. This is that authentic power, that deep inner current. When you can make decisions from this seat of deep trust, this is where revolutionary breakthroughs and magic happen in your business as well as your life. So decide today what quantum leaps you want to make when you trust your intuition and how you want it to guide you in your business on your individual intuitive terms. In addition, for this Scorpio new moon at 12 degrees, the astrology is quite astounding. And so if you have, you're kind of like sitting on the fence about like harnessing your intuition, again, remember, we are on this intuitive revolution, so to say. A little after the exact meeting of the moon and the sun at Scorpio of 12 degrees, we have Uranus hanging out at 12 degrees of Taurus. And so this opposition is almost like a full moon with the new moon and Uranus, where they're facing off with each other in the sky, really asking us to integrate this intuitive awakening. So what does intuitive awakening mean for you in your business? Of course, the new moon has a beautiful quintile, a spiritual aspect with Pluto, almost exactly, where this is saying, not only do we have our intuitive and our emotional power, but we want to harness in our spiritual power. So when you're thinking about your new moon intention, what is the spiritual power that wants to come through too? We also have Mars and Mercury with kind of a loose out of sign conjunction. So we have Mars, Mercury, Sun, and Moon all in Scorpio for this Scorpio new moon, where there's this element of peaceful activism through our communications that wants to come through. Also, we have Mercury with a separating sextile with Venus, which is going to give it an idealistic and charming feel. And lastly, if you're thinking about your offers, we have Saturn sextile Chiron. So you're really being asked to master the gifts of your wounds as you put together your authentic offer. It is really, really powerful new moon that you have so many opportunities to clearly ask for what you want in your business by setting a fresh new intention. Remember, I invite you, if you want a new moon in Scorpio mini reading, head over to thesavvyluminary.com/new moon so you can sample a new moon reading with me. Or if you want to learn how to read your natal chart for business, head on over to thesavvyluminary/written in the stars. So I'll be dropping on social media the different house activations so that you can personalize your new moon ritual. Remember, we're looking at the house that contains 12 degrees of Scorpio to see where in your business and your life wants a fresh intention. Okay, so if 12 degrees of Scorpio is in your first house, you are creating a new intention. You're planting the seeds to trust your intuition in your personal brand and leadership with honesty. If you have Scorpio of 12 degrees in your second house, you are planting the seeds to trust your intuition to build faithful, open, honest, transparent values that build loyalty to your customers. If you have 12 degrees of Scorpio in the third house, you are creating communications. You're planting the seeds to trust your intuition to create unapologetic communications and promotional messaging. If you have 12 degrees of Scorpio in your fourth house, today you're planting your seeds to use your intuition to build safe spaces that hold vulnerable emotional security for growth, for rootedness to happen. If you have 12 degrees of Scorpio in your fifth house, here you're creating pleasurable, creative, dramatic, powerful plays using your intuition and your authentic power. If you have 12 degrees of Scorpio in your sixth house, today you're planting the seeds to trust your intuition to build holistic, intuitive operations that eliminate everything unnecessary. So a systems detox here for you, a routine and a health detox. If you have Scorpio of 12 degrees in your seventh house, today you're planting the seeds to call in your intuitive and powerful co-creators, because you're building transformative partnerships here with your ideal customers and collaborators. If you have 12 degrees in your eighth house, you're creating a fresh intention to trust your intuition, to build deep healing, maybe with some mystical or psychoanalytical abilities. This also could be talking about shared resources and debts. I know eighth house is kind of weird, and I'm always going to throw the shared resources there. So maybe you're interested in paying off some debts or harnessing some debts as investment. So that would be really great for you if you have eighth house in Scorpio. If you have your ninth house being activated by 12 degrees of Scorpio, you're planting the seeds to trust your intuition and create authentic power in your business's divine knowledge, vision, and philosophy. Some big, important brand assets right there with ninth house vision. If you have 12 degrees of Scorpio in your 10th house, you are building out a new intention for your ultimate mission so that you can create your highest visibility and delivery of spiritual truth using your intuition. If you have 12 degrees of Scorpio in your 11th house, you are creating impact You need to create a new intention to build a community and platform and social impact of other truth seekers using their intuition and deep emotional healing. Now, if you have Scorpio of 12 degrees in your 12th house, here you're planting the seeds to trust your intuition to make inner peace so that you can surrender to your true ease and flow in your business. I know that was a lot of Scorpio, and I really hope that you have found that useful. So if you have any questions, head on over to my free Facebook group, The Savvy Luminary. Ask your questions there. I am happy to talk and answer more of your Scorpio and new moon questions there. All right, everyone, if you found this episode useful, be sure to forward it on to your business bestie who needs to tap into her own authentic power and intuition. All right, talk to you soon. If you love this podcast, please consider doing me a favor and heading over to Apple iTunes and leaving me a rating and review. Your rating and review helps this humble podcast get seen and found by more listeners like you. Please share the love.